One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. So let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm standing at the crossroads. I'm feeling like a lost soul. Don't know where I wanna go, but all I know is I wanna be free. They're telling me to let it be, but that just ain't in me, no. Jealousy and envy, but all I see is I wanna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Don't let it get the most of me. Eventually, I'm gonna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm gonna be free. Let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I told them take their aim off me. Stop trying to get a name off me. If they would just let me be, I'm gonna be free. I told them take them chains off me and throw away the locks and keys. If they would just let me be, eventually I'm gonna be free.
They're back.
What up, though? 7 days. We're back again for another episode of The Dominant Effect. March Bishop. We got Mike Ball, Aaron Olinger. And welcome, everybody. I mean, this has been a crazy 7 days. There's been a lot of stuff going on. It's getting pretty captivating as the time goes on. But we're gonna talk about one thing at a time here, and hopefully we can kind of catch up with a little bit of everything. But before we get started, like always, we check to see what everybody done for the week. So we'll start with you, Aaron. What's up with you? How you doing, brother? How was your week?
Oh, it's been a quiet week this week. I didn't get into nothing over the weekend, just hanging out at the house and trying to stay out of trouble, stay away from crazy people. I found my life goes better when I can do that.
That's right. That's exactly what I did, dude. So it's awesome. 2 enthusiastic thumbs up on those plans.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Mike? How was your week, bro?
It's been good, man. As far as like the personal side, it's been great. On the opposite end, I've been, of course, dealing with a ton of politics. So that's been fun to say the least. It's been entertaining to watch how the masses move on certain topics For sure. And something even like this is why it's great even having this topic right here, because the mainstream media isn't talking about this too much right here.
Right. Right. Well, my week was pretty good for the most part. We had a loss this week. Um, one of my club brothers passed away this weekend on a motorcycle accident. Um, that was
Oh shit.
pretty tragic thing that went on dealing with that. But give my condolences to his family. He was a good dude. Um, been in the club probably about 3-4 years now, but he was he was a stand up dude. And I mean, like when stuff like that happens, it makes you think about a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? And putting things into perspective where it needs to be. You know, so yes, we had that going on. Then just the regular stuff, still trying to get they got that last little bit of stuff together before they send off the lawless ones. That was supposed to have been a part one and part two, but once it hit the distributors, they decided that instead of pushing the movie back to 26 to view, if they made it a series, that they could do it now. So it had to come back, broke up, had to add some stuff to it or whatever to get it sent back out. So
you had to go back in and add more scenes and stuff?
right.
Oh
Right.
man.
Right. So I had to go back, add some more stuff to it, and send it back out. So it will come out as a series, but it will come out this year. They're talking right before Thanksgiving. It should be out. So we're hopeful for that. And then we have the new movie Born Protector that's going to come. We're going to start filming. Right now, we're looking at right in the middle of October, second week in October. So that'll start up, and then real excited about that one. It's going to be a real good one. So,
So 2nd of October, this October.
right.
Oh, okay. Right on.
For the
That's awesome.
second week of October.
Or second week, I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we're going to start that on the second week. Like I said, it's
Are we going to get any teasers?
for which one?
For all of it.
You know what?
As they come out, but right before they come out, you got to do like one of those little teasers, you know?
Right. Yeah, we'll have something. We'll have something set up on that one beforehand. The well, you remember I told you they changed the name on Standing on Business. Remember, Standing on Business became Lawful Ones.
Right.
They ended up putting the name on it, which was actually a good idea that they did that, because it was so much different stuff that was going on with the original name. It would have got buried up under everything else. So being able to change it and put it on its own made it to where it would stand out completely on its own and be able to cycle through. So so we got that going through. But yeah, I'll keep everybody posted, and as I get stuff in, I'll put it out here and let you see it. Check it out.
And make sure you guys join up on the Diamond Effect Facebook group page that we have on Facebook. I'll drop the link for you guys as well.
So today's story, we're going to talk about what's going on over in Venezuela. And so over in the Caribbean, you got the U.S. military. They've been doing strikes on Venezuelan vessels. Washington says that it's about drugs. But the timing, the secrecy, and the big military build up suggests that it may be a little bit more than that. Is this really about narcotics, or is it a deeper play unfolding that we don't know anything about? You have President Maduro's regime in Venezuela, and this region is basically at large, but there's a lot of different stuff that's going on. And as we go through, we'll put it all out there, and you can make your own decision as to what you think is going on over there. So that's going to be the topic of the day. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back and for when this started, and then I'll turn it over to Aaron, and then I'll let Aaron jump down into it. So what we got happening here on September 2nd, U.S. forces carried out strikes on a boat allegedly carrying narcotics from Venezuela, and you had 11 people that ended up being unalive, and the vessel was claimed to be operated by a notorious Venezuelan gang designated as a narco terrorist organization. On the 15th of September, there was a second strike, unaliving 3 people, again alleged to be involved with drug trafficking. So you had a naval buildup and you have military deployment because the U.S. has been increasing its military presence in the Southern Caribbean. You got warships, you got aircraft carriers, you got submarines, you got various aircraft, and then they also sent a bunch of aircraft over to Puerto Rico as well as part of this this anti-narcotics operation. There's a lot of back and forth going on because you have the president of Venezuela. He's been very vocal in the past weeks, and then you have what's been said over here, but it's been very little bit that's been said over here as to what's been going on. I mean, of course, we know that they've been occupying over there, and they have hit a couple of vessels.
But it's all on the guise of drugs.
Right. From what we're hearing.
Right.
But then we also hearing that this isn't just Venezuela and the U.S. going back and forth. Now we're hearing that Russia's playing a part. Now we hear that China's playing a part. Then you got Colombia playing a part. You know what I mean? So this kind of like seems like the beginning of like a new Cold War type deal that we got going on here. So we're gonna jump into it. We're gonna put this stuff out there, and then, like I said, we're gonna let you decide, let you make your opinions as to what you think this is going on. Because of course they're not gonna tell us. And
no,
one of the big things that we do on here is try to figure out what the truth is and all the rhetoric that we've been hearing. So, Aaron, I'm gonna let you start out, brother.
Okay, well, I want to add to what you said. Right now, a lot of people may not realize, but Venezuela sits on top of a trove of oil, more oil than Russia, more oil than the Saudis got. Nobody has the amount of oil, but it's a thick sludge like oil that has to be heavily refined. But they're literally floating on it over there, but they don't have the scientific ability to get it out and refine it like we would have or China would have. China recently signed contracts with Venezuela to get access to that oil. So is this a propaganda thing where on the surface we're interdicting drugs, but behind the scenes it's who's going to control energy? Or is it a combination of both? Are we getting a 2-for-1 out of this where we interdict their money on the drug end, but then we also drive China and Russia out of region and we maintain control through regime change on that oil that's in the ground there that's right off of our shores. Mm-hmm. But I would say right now, just from Monday the 15th up till today, man, there's been considerable movement. And it's unbelievable.
That's just in the last 2 days, right?
Yes, yeah. Yes. Mike, do you mind playing the video that I sent you, please?
Sure. Let me go ahead and present that right here, right now. And 3, 2, 1. All right.
News coming in within the past hour. The United States has detected a direct threat to America inside Venezuelan territory. A missile base has just received long-range weapons capable of striking U.S. cities at any moment. According to the Pentagon, satellite images confirmed the arrival of military convoys at the complex, transporting equipment under heavy protection. Defense sources reveal that these missiles are not of local manufacture, raising immediate suspicions about China and Russia, close allies of Caracas, accused of supplying the arsenal as part of a strategy to challenge Washington in its own hemisphere. The existence of this base and the presence of strategic missiles represent the most provocative step taken by Venezuela in decades, turning the country into a flashpoint of international tension. Military analysts warn that this is not just a symbolic threat. These missiles can reach American soil within minutes, completely altering the regional security balance. In Washington, the National Security Council is monitoring the situation in real time, while pressure grows in Congress for an immediate response. Officials emphasize that the U.S. cannot allow a regime allied with rival powers to hold weapons capable of placing millions of Americans at instant risk. The question now haunting the United States is clear. How far are Venezuela and its allies willing to go before America is forced to respond?
Okay, now you saw it for yourself. That happened September 16th. Our satellites picked up and was able, you know how they can blow up the images. They were able to confirm those missiles, and they were brought in from Russia and China. Also, air defense systems have been brought in. And like you said in the video, the missiles are not of local manufacture. So Venezuela did not manufacture those missiles. But what we don't know is, are they nuclear tipped or not? But I lived through a period, I think it was back in 63, called the Missiles of October. It was the Cuban Missile Crisis. This almost puts us back into a similar situation right now.
Very similar.
And, you know, Russia was involved in that too. They definitely feel that Russia and China supplied them. They can reach our U.S. soil within minutes. And these are strategic weapons. Right now, Russia and China is supplying them with what they call Strat 4, which is strategic force weaponry. They're shipping in, they're shipping in fighter jets, missiles that can reach us, long-range missiles. They're shipping them anti-ship missiles, and they're shipping them air defense systems that are considered impenetrable. And right now they've got more missiles, more jets, more stuff that's en route coming their way. And the question is, are we going to let them dock and unload that stuff, knowing that it's going to mean the lives of American servicemen? Now, that happened on the 16th. Also on the 16th, once he started receiving them and some of those missiles became operational, Venezuela enacted an embargo against the United States. I mean, they're shutting down commercial routes in the Caribbean. Not only are they not going to ship oil to the United States right now, but they're going to interdict commercial shipping. And they feel it will cause a surge in prices on gas and diesel, which it definitely will. Ships carrying crude oil and derivatives will now have to travel longer, more dangerous routes, sharply increasing transportation costs. And of course, those transportation costs are passed on to the consumer. It's going to be felt by the average American at the gas stations, on food, basic goods, and service prices will become more expensive. Now, both those things was done on the 16th. Now, on the 17th, which is today, and we're talking 8 hours ago, China and Russia has officially announced an alliance with Venezuela, kind of similar to what we got with Israel. If Venezuela's attacked, they're coming to aid. Now, right now, some of them Chinese tanks being unloaded, they think is manned by Chinese crews. And definitely the air defense systems are being manned by Russian troops. But ships from both countries are en route to supply weapon systems. And Iran right now is supplying them with the drones that they're receiving. So if you're wondering where they're getting their drones, that's definitely coming from Iran. And only one ain't participating with this is North Korea. But as of yesterday, 2 fighter jets that was on patrol flew from Venezuela straight to the United States to defect yesterday.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Trump and the United States has promised any pilot or soldier that defects to the United States will receive asylum here in this country if they're willing to defect. And they're kind of hoping that a large amount of his forces will do that. But Maduro was furious when it happened. He called it treason. So I don't know if they're going to start shooting people talking about defecting or what. But I checked to try to find out because I wanted to anticipate those freighters that are coming from China and Russia, how long it would take airplanes to fly from there to bring more weapons in. But the freighters is going to be carrying the majority of the equipment. How long will it take a freighter to sail from China to Venezuela? Air freight is only 4 days, so they can bring in those cargo planes real quick. But a freighter takes 30 to 35 days to sail from China to Venezuela. So the question is, will we wait that long? I mean, I'm not a war hawk, but if given a choice between allowing them weapons that they can hit the continental United States with or having that war now, I'd rather have it now myself. And I'm not a war hawk. But Venezuela right now on Monday has sent 15,000 troops to the border with Colombia. Colombia has openly announced that they're going to side with Venezuela. So, they're mostly controlled by the cartels anyway. And I think myself that that's going to be the possible escape route. Maduro tried to fly in a plane to Cuba to try to get out of there, and our air jets interjected him and made him have to come back. So he's amassed a body of troops right there on the border with Colombia, and with Colombia being a friendly nation to him, he's going to be able to cross there. Now, on Monday, France has sent warships to help America fight in the Caribbean. Now, the U.S. has also been joined by Ecuador and Paraguay, which isolates Venezuela because to the south of them, they're blocked off. But Venezuela right now has China, Russia, Iran, Colombia, and Mexico on their side. Brazil is being quiet right now. They're not saying nothing, but they're a member of the BRIC alliance. So I would not rule them out of later jumping in because Maduro keeps bragging that if this war breaks out, it's going to be Latin America coming against the United States. And like Bishop said, we sunk another drug boat on Tuesday. But in response to that, Venezuela immediately struck back with Chinese-made C-802A anti-ship missiles, which has a range of 180 kilometers. And Maduro said, underestimate us at your own risk. Now, I don't know if our ships were just out of range and those things fell into the water, or if we intercepted them, because I never heard the end of that. But Maduro said that their anti-air systems are ready to intercept any of our jets and our cruise missiles, even though I personally don't think that their systems are going to be able to track our stealth fighters and our stealth bombers. Now, Claudia Sheinbaum, she's the leader of Mexico. She was put into power by the cartels. She has offered sanctuary and protection to Maduro if he would come to Mexico. So right now, things are escalating, and it's escalating in a major way, but it's all what I would call a controlled escalation. And I'll give you an example. On September 15th, China said that they would open the war with Taiwan only after Russia opens a front in Europe. So that goes to show right there that Xi Jinping guy doesn't totally trust Putin's word. He wants Russia to make the first open move, and then he'd make a move. That would open two fronts and could possibly start World War III right there. And with their scripted war plan, China, Russia, North Korea is all involved. Right now, they're counting on opening up multiple fronts, which would be Russia versus Europe, South China Sea versus China, and then the Middle East would erupt under Iran. But then no one knows what North Korea is doing because North Korea is making threats against the South Korea, and they're also making threats against Japan. So they don't know if North Korea is going to take on South Korea or if they're going to take on Japan. If that front opens up and U.S. opens up a front here in the Caribbean, we'll be fighting on 5 fronts. Now, what they're counting on with this scripted escalation is that America's internal stability would collapse under inflation, civil unrest, and market crashes. And the U.S. could fragment internally. That's what they're counting on by trying to get us to fight on a 3 to 5 front area. And with the EMP attacks that are going to occur, they said they could cripple different power grids, cause communication blackout, economic crashes, and civil chaos. They're counting on the United States people not banding together because we're so divided right now that we would almost be ready to start fighting each other when that power grid goes down. But this is serious right now. And even Iran is saying that there's no repair of relations with America due to the new wave of U.S. sanctions. Iran is threatening right now to widen the war with the United States. And they said future engagements could extend to other spheres. So they're definitely threatening terrorism and things in other countries, including the United States. But Trump came back and said if terrorism opens up here in the United States and we find out that whether it's proxies or anything that has to do with Iran, Iran's going to get wiped out. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff, and I mean everything's hanging on a
By a
hair
thread.
yeah, on a hair trigger right now. I mean, the last 3 days, this has gotten real serious.
See,
Real
but that
quick
also
on that.
tells you. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to thank these 2 people that sent in our donations to the channel. Naomi comes in with $9.99, by the way, saying, thank you, Mike, AB, and Aaron, for the info. Yes, absolutely. These guys are fantastic. What they do. Thank you for that, Naomi, as well as Papa Penguin sending in a 5 spot saying money for America, making gunboat diplomacy great again. Shit, man. Well, thank you very much for the 5 spot on that. And so, yeah, do you guys think that this is just a way to get the American people on board against Venezuela? Is that they are just going to point at like drug cartels and that kind of propaganda to make, even though in the background, this is what's all happening, but they don't want to tell the American public that. They kind of want to dress it up a little bit. Is that kind of a basic overview there?
It could be, but I would not underestimate Venezuela. Venezuela could be America's new Ukraine war. I mean,
Wow.
if they bring in enough
Really?
weaponry in there to try to keep us off their shores, and right now the stuff is coming in, and we need to be aware. I mean, they can hit continental United States with missiles. So you could be sitting there in your living room watching Saturday night or Sunday night football, and all of a sudden things start exploding around you. Will the United States tolerate that? I don't think so. And right now, what Russia, China, and all of them is counting on is they say Americans only care about one thing right now, and that is the cost of living. So they know that we're distracted. They know we're not paying attention. And behind the scenes, they're making strategic moves like they're on a chessboard. Each one is a little escalation. It's a scripted escalation. You've been seeing them meeting with each other, flying to meet with each other. They're discussing this and what each one's next move is going to be. And they're building up Maduro. I don't think his forces stand a chance against us, but it will split our forces up. That where if 3 fronts open up or a total of 5 fronts open up, it puts us at a bad advantage. And if you don't mind, Mike, can you show that one picture?
Yeah, let me go ahead and bring that up for you. That is this one right here. Let me set us up over here on the side here. 1 sec. There we go.
Okay. And as everyone can see, that you're talking tanks, jets. Now, in jets, we are far ahead of everyone. And the scale goes back and forth, depending upon what type of weapon system it is. But what people need to understand is when this conflict starts to go, we got to fight Russia and China combined, not separate. It ain't going to be separate. It will only look that way. I mean, China and Russia is doing war games right now, doing nuclear war games right now as we speak, because they're all getting ready to fight us. And I think they think they're ready to do it. They've had 10 years of preparation to get ready. As you can see by this scale, we're ahead on some things, we're behind on others. But Putin is already talking about using nukes in Europe. So, man, I hate to see the world that's going to be reshaped after this next conflict kicks off and all these different fronts opens up. And I
When
hope
did
that our economy can handle it and the stock market don't crash behind it. But
when
go
did
ahead, Mike.
Russia become ahead of USA regarding nukes? I mean, I thought
They
historically
always
we've
have
always
been.
been really.
Yeah, they
I thought
always,
Yeah.
we
yeah,
were
they
the
always
leader
have.
always.
That was the one thing. I mean, some people said the Russian forces aren't that good, but nobody could take nothing away from Russia's nuclear forces.
Ah, interesting.
They was always top heavy in that.
So we're just top heavy in like the Air Force and aircraft carriers and stuff, which is power. It is,
Right.
of course. It's but it's a different type of power, right, Aaron?
Right. And,
Yeah.
and I'm going to say this too in regards to China right now. China, we know how quiet they've been. They have deployed 510 satellites, almost like that Starlink grid, but some of these satellites are weaponized and they're designed to attack our satellites, carriers, or any U.S. forces from space. They've got this set up right now. And right now, they're saying that if China takes Taiwan, they would become the most technologically advanced country in the world. And in the Pentagon War Games, where we fight China on those war games, we've lost every time from what I've been able to find out. And then China's bragging that they can produce and build a new aircraft carrier every year, that their manufacturing is actually on that level and they can outproduce us. But go ahead, Mike. I didn't know if you had something you wanted to
No,
say.
real quick, Steven
Okay.
Stahl brings in a $10 donation saying great topics each week over there. Yes, Steven Stahl, these guys are the kings of this shit. Absolutely. Appreciate you.
But we're literally facing a Cuban Missile Crisis, but it's a Venezuelan missile crisis because I just recently learned that China shipped nukes into Iran to use against Israel. And are we to assume all these missiles that can reach us, that there's no nukes in that package or on the ships that are on their way over there right now? I mean, we're playing Russian roulette if we let them get them. And it's going to mean more American lives gone if we allow them to have them. But I do understand a nation's sovereignty. How can we sit back and say what a nation can have and can't have? But if it presents an open threat to the American people, we have to take that heavy in consideration because this is a nation that is not friendly to us and they're allied with our rivals right now.
Yep,
But I'm going to stop there. I'm going to stop
that's right.
Well, he was on the roll, wasn't he?
No, he's on it, bro. He's seriously on one, bro. It's awesome. Yeah, he's sending him out for real.
Okay, so let me go back a little bit.
Yeah.
And go. Okay, so here's my thinking. Number one, I think this whole when Mike asked the question about the drug part being propaganda,
Mm-hmm.
I'd say yes. For the
Okay.
simple fact of if you were just trying to put a halt to the drug trade, to try to keep fentanyl and whatever else that they coming from Venezuela with, coming from the U.S. Okay, that's one thing. Now, remind you, when both of these ships, these boats, whatever you want to call them, got hit, not one time have they showed anything off of them boats that looked like drugs to say this is what we got off of these. You know what I'm saying? They just blew them
Right.
up. They didn't seize the boat, take what was on the boat, whatever. They just blew it to shit.
What about the first boat? Do you think that there was 11 people on that skiff of a boat? Like I looked at that boat and I'm like, maybe 4 or 5 people. You know what I mean? But
Right.
11, I just
Right.
don't see that.
Well, it said it was. I don't know.
Right.
But
I know you're right. That is what was
you
reported.
know, okay, so even when you blew it to shit, did you send another boat over there to pull up what was floating in the water? Did you show like, okay, this is what it is that we're actually doing? They haven't showed that not one time. Second thing, you're not going to have Russia and China coming over there over some drugs. They're not getting involved with this shit over no drugs. Now, mind you, Russia did sign a partnership agreement with Venezuela back in May of 25, and that agreement was was for like energy cooperation, oil, gas exploration, trading, basically to get around the tariffs.
Wait,
It's
Venezuela and United States
no, Venezuela and
and
Russia.
Russia. Okay,
Yeah.
that interesting. I was about to
Yeah,
say,
so
yeah.
they
Okay,
did
got you.
Yeah, so they did this partnership back in May of 25. And then you had China that was jumping in, just basically criticizing everything that was going on. Okay, so you have, even though Venezuela has drugs in Venezuela, yes. There's the cartels running around in Venezuela, yes. Why are the cartels running around in Venezuela? Because we stuck our nose in Venezuela before, a long time ago, back when Hugo Chavez was running.
Yep. Yep.
And then after that dissipated and he's gone, then Venezuela's economy went to nothing.
Right.
They didn't have no money.
Right.
Their money didn't mean nothing, even though they sitting up on all that oil. They had no way to refine it. So they basically were starving down there. They didn't have nothing. So who comes in? The cartels. Cartels come in, they giving these people drugs to sell, right? Which in turn is doing what? Put money in their pocket. So now they out, they can buy food, they can buy gas, they can go right back to the living that they was normally doing before.
Prior, right.
But now they're working for the cartel. So where is your allegiance going to be? Who's putting money in your pocket?
Yeah,
right?
wherever the money's coming from.
Right. Now, where's the fentanyl and shit coming from? China. You already know it's coming from there. But do you have anything over there stopping them from bringing the stuff over here, over to Venezuela?
Right.
Nope. And they've been pumping fentanyl through the
That's a great point.
through the South and bringing them back up for years now, and they know it. But you haven't stopped them. Like I said, the biggest thing dealing with what we've been seeing, and if you notice, what's going on in Venezuela is the same thing that's going on in Ukraine. It's the same thing that they was trying to do in Greenland. Resources. That's the name of the game right now. Resources.
Yep. If you got oil, yep.
Venezuela is sitting on more oil than Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is trying to go over the BRICS. So you know that partnership that they have is wearing thin. So what are you going to do? You got to get this oil from somewhere else. And if that means, okay, we're going to go over and take it from this one because he's easier to get, then that's what you're going to do. Now, are you going to make up some shit to give you a reason to go do it? Sure you are. Same thing they did with Libya. Same thing they did with Gaddafi. The same thing that they did with Ferdinand Marcos. We keep going on with that shit because every time that we jump into something, talking about we're going to do a regime change and you don't like the person that's in charge, that country goes to shit every single time.
When are we going to learn? Stop doing that, USA. Stop doing that.
You're not going to learn simply because you want your hands on shit.
Yeah.
That's the reason why they wanted Canada to be the 51st state. Resources. That's the name of the game right now. Resources. Think about this. Just last week and month before then, when we was talking about them buying all the water reserves, buying the farmland and all that, everything is centered around resources. Because if you can control the resources, then you can control everything else that goes along with it. That's what this shit is all about. Now, they can push the propaganda all they want. They can try to make it seem like they doing all this for the sake of American people, and we don't want people dying of fentanyl or whatever. It's still gonna happen. It's still gonna happen.
Well, yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Everything else is still going to, it's still going to continue to go the way it's going to go. But I'm going to tell you what our problem has been. And the reason why they know how to manipulate this whole situation is because we've run around for decades now trying to be the world police. We done stuck our nose in everybody's business. We try to patrol everybody. We try to tell everybody what to do. Just like this. You're going to go in, you're going to arrest this president, you're going to try him, and you're going to send him to El Salvador. For what? For something that he did in his own country? Ain't your damn business. You wouldn't let nobody come in this country and take, you know what I mean, and arrest the president and try him and put him and send him somewhere. You ain't gonna do it. But we're allowed to do it. You see what I'm saying? We've been shitting on people for years. Now look what happened. You got shit going on in Ukraine. You got shit going on in in Israel.
Right.
Now you got this going on in Venezuela. You got troops over in Japan and Australia waiting to see if China's going to do something to Taiwan, which they're
Right. You
going
got China
to.
and Taiwan. You've got so many
Right.
moving
Which they're
parts.
going to. You spaced out everywhere. That's why when you was talking, Aaron, earlier before we started the show, when you was talking about they kept doing them war games, them simulations, and every time the simulations would come across, it would show the U.S. losing to China. The reason why is because you only dealing with less than a quarter of U.S. forces in that area. Why? Because we're spread it out. We're all over the place.
Everywhere but here. Right.
Right. Hashtag word about the wrong shit.
Mm-hmm.
So if China is your biggest adversary, that's who you should be focused on. But you're being greedy. Now, the other thing dealing with Russia, now you remember we talked about this a while ago, and I told y'all a couple weeks prior that this was going to happen. Because when Russia found that lithium mine over in Ukraine, they wanted it back. The U.S. wanted it.
Right.
They told them, no, we're going to keep it. The reason why the U.S. wanted it so bad is because BlackRock owned that lithium mine.
Right. Yes.
And I told y'all, as soon as they found it, what did I tell you? Give it 2 weeks. Now everything you're going to be hearing, they're going to try to find a way to go at Russia. That's exactly what they did.
So is this just warfare on bricks?
This shit is going right. It's okay. Think about it this way. You're not going to be able to stop BRICS, no matter how many fucking sanctions or whatever that you.
But there's always going to be a response. There's always going to be a reaction, though.
Right. You're not going to be able to stop them. They're going to continue to do it because you got these countries that's running up under them. They're running up under them more because of the tariffs and the sanctions. So they're running up under them more because it's easier for them to back. You know what I mean? They know, based on what they're doing right now, the dollar's going to crash. They know that. That's why they're getting rid of the treasuries. That's why they're selling these bonds, getting from up under them, because they know it's going to drop. So when they're trying to get people to buy them now, they're like, oh no, we don't want them. They know this is going to happen. So what are you going to do? You're going to try to salvage everything that you can possibly salvage, which means you need the resources. Because as long as you can control the resources, then you still have a foot in the game. You still have a play to make. But if you don't have anything and they got everything, then you just sitting there. You know what I mean? Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, I want to add to what you're saying on resources. Some of the African nations that are joining the BRIC Alliance, they were formerly colonies of Britain and France. And up until recent years was still shipping money to Britain and France. Some of the gold coming out of the ground and stuff was being shipped straight over to Great Britain and France. Now that they have pulled back and they pulled back their resources, both France and Britain's economies are suffering that they're not getting that gratuity, is what I'm going to call it, coming in from these other countries. I mean, they're feeling the bite right now. I've been hearing about how bad their economy's suffering now that they're not getting that money from those resources. But I'll stop there.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, so this whole scripted escalation, this has all been planned out. Now, if you remember last week, they had, was it last week or the week before, where they had the meeting between Putin and Trump. And then right after Putin left there, where did he go? Went over here and had a meeting with Xi Jinping and Kim Jong-un. Right. But then Trump made the statement to him before he left him and was like, I know y'all plotting against me. They already know what's going on. You know what I mean? Why would they not plot against you? You know they've been in cahoots before you even came in here. What makes you think they were going to switch because you got here? You know what I mean? Because that's what's gonna keep them and their economies effective, no matter what you put out there. That's how they had it set up from the beginning. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me add to what you're saying. On the 15th, which was Monday, China said that they will back Russia if NATO pushes back against Russia and Ukraine. And in return, Russia will back China's Taiwan incursion. So they're thicker than thieves right now. We're going to have to fight both of them guys at the same time. But I'll stop there.
Damn.
Right. So
Sounds like a lot of being cooked. You know what I mean?
right. So this whole thing in Venezuela, it's gonna keep going because they're gonna keep popping shots at each other.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Until one or two things happen. Either Venezuela gonna actually use one of these missiles or something that China and Russia gave them, and they're gonna actually hit something that belongs to the U.S., which is gonna give them provocation to rage hell on them. You know what I mean? But then if you sending Russian tanks and Chinese missiles and everything else over, who's in them tanks? Who's running them missile systems? You see what I mean? So when you start knocking them out, then now what are you hitting? Russian soldiers, Chinese soldiers, which gives them provocation to do what they want to do.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So it's all, and it's been for months now, it's been a powder keg. And they've been intentionally doing shit just to see what you're gonna do. What you gonna do about it? Like when Russia sent the sub and the two warships to Cuba, and they rode danger close to the U.S. border. What they do that for? Just to see what you're gonna do.
It's a big game of chicken.
You know what I mean? China post up, send soldiers all over the place. China actually has soldiers in Mexico right now. Why? Just to see what you're gonna do. You know what I mean? And we've done the same thing. And we've been doing it for years. Everybody comes out and flex. Just
Shit,
to see
we do
what the
that
other
as
one's gonna do.
we do that as organizations too,
Right.
even here locally, you know.
Right. Everybody flex just to see
Yep.
what you're gonna do.
What you're
Who's
gonna
gonna
do.
do this first? Right. Who's gonna do this first? I mean, Ukraine was, like I said, biggest prop war that you could think of. You know, this one here in Venezuela is going to end up being the same thing. It's not going to be an actual war, though. It's not going to be a war because they're just going to come in and just tear shit up. You know what I mean? Because they actually, them thinking, okay, well, we get Maduro, then that's it. No, that's not it. Because you still dealing with the cartels. You see what I mean? And a lot of them people that they got, what they said they have 4 million people that was going to be armed or whatever, which I don't believe that shit. I don't believe that. But I do believe that you jump in somewhere that you have no idea who you are actually fighting, kind of like how Vietnam was. When you send out soldiers in Vietnam and you thinking that they're just a poor, desolate fucking country, and what happened? They came out banging.
Yeah, they use their own resources against
us.
us.
So because they know their land.
They know their landscape. They know their crazy swamps and woods and all that crazy shit. They know all about it.
Right. So anything that's sitting above ground and shit like that you can hit, okay, yeah, y'all gonna tear it up. But if you put boots on the ground in Venezuela, for what? Because you're not chasing no drugs. And that's the biggest thing that we keep talking about here. People need to, these governments, these administrations need to start telling the fucking truth. Stop lying to people.
I agree.
Stop putting that prop shit up, talking about that we here to fight for drugs. No, you're not. You know damn well you're not. You got a whole carrier fleet there for drugs. Bullshit. Why ain't you
It's a
been
good
doing
sell. It's a good sell to the American people, though,
that?
right?
Right. Why ain't you been doing that?
Because both sides can agree to that kind of shit. You know
You know
what I mean?
Right. Won't you go? Why don't you have the military at the border where they got all them fucking tunnels dug all the way up to California and shit popping
Yep.
up out of that shit don't exist. They got tunnels going up to fucking Arizona, California, all kind of shit. Because once they get over here, you don't know where it's at until it gets here. You know what I mean? You lose that shit. You know what I mean? So knocking out a couple boats that you saying, okay, they had drugs in them. Okay, show us.
Yeah,
Show
it's
us the drugs.
propaganda.
Yeah, show us the drugs that you got. You know what I mean, if you bust somebody here, if you bust a tanker here and it's loaded with drugs, which they do all the time, what do? They show it. They show it in the room, stacked up, money stacked up, everything stacked up as to what they did. When they had back in I know down in Miami, drugs float up to the beach all the time. They show it. This watched in the other day.
Whole ass bricks and shit. It's awesome.
Right. Now, you blowing up skiffs with missiles, like, what are you showing? Nothing. I mean, could you have taken over that little skiff? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you could just drive right on to them and just take them at gunpoint.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
You could have easily took that over and
That's
pulled
true.
off everything that they had and show, okay, this is what they got.
Mhm.
No. You just blew it up and then said it was drugs in it. And then of course we'd be like, oh yeah, it was a drug ship, but it had drugs. We don't fucking know that.
You're right. Yeah, I heard that they were making this humongous claim, like something to the, I can't remember the exact amount, but it was something like this little tiny skiff that they were reporting. The government was giving out information about that whole ordeal, which I was reporting on. And they're like, yeah, there was 13,000 pounds of cocaine in this boat. And I'm like, that boat couldn't even carry 13,000 pounds of anything. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? There's no way there was 13,000 pounds of anything. Like, I would understand maybe 100 bricks, 500 bricks maybe, you know, but no, we ain't talking about that amount, right? So, yeah.
Right. And if you blew it up, you don't know how many pounds it is. You don't know.
You don't, how would you be able to estimate how much it, because you blew it all up, there is no evidence, right? Well, how did you know how much it was? Real quick,
Right.
Papa Penguin says, let's break the 10 super chat threshold. This is 2 out of 10. Yes, sir, Papa Penguin. Thank you for that. Making it rain, man. Thank you for that.
Yeah, so that's, man, I'm telling you, a lot of this, when Aaron was talking about earlier about when he showed the picture of what the U.S. had versus Russia versus China, the numbers are there, absolutely. But you also have to put into consideration that, take like Russia, for instance. Russia they got a lot of troops. They got a lot of overall weapons. A lot of their shit that they using is old. Just like they using over in Ukraine, they using tanks that they had back in the 50s and 60s. They using now. A lot of their nuclear sites where you had these generals and these, you know, like the upper echelon military that was stealing parts, stealing weaponry, all that stuff, selling it. So a lot of that stuff, when they went to actually use a lot of those different weapons when they was dealing with Ukraine, a lot of it didn't work. Or they
Right, it
went
was a
there
lot
and
of
it wasn't
bunk
even
shit.
there. Right.
Right. Mhm.
Or it wasn't even there because the actual upkeep was diminished greatly.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you have the
And-
numbers.
Those things are really old too. I mean, we're not talking like 5 years old here. You know, these are things that you have to maintain over the course of decades and shit, you know?
Right. So you have the numbers of all these different, whether they jets or tanks or, you know, boats, whatever. But the overall maintenance on a lot of that stuff is greatly diminished.
Right.
So number-wise, they say, yeah, well, we got all this. In actual reality, you probably don't have half of it. Now with China, you have like China's military has grew up to where it's surpassed the U.S., but they made a lot of small boats. You know what I mean? So their numbers doesn't consist of destroyers, aircraft carriers, Aegis cruisers, frigates, whatever. They made a lot of smaller, a lot of smaller boats. Like we was talking earlier, Aaron, where you said that they were talking about that they could build an aircraft carrier in a year.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's gonna be some shoddy shit. For you to put an aircraft carrier from scratch together in a year, that's gonna be some shoddy shit. You know what I mean? It ain't gonna be nowhere in comparison to an actual U.S. aircraft carrier.
Mm-hmm.
If you built it in a year, nowhere in comparison. That's some shit that you literally threw together in order for that to take place. But like I said, they have built a lot of smaller boats. So number wise, yes. Do they have more ships in the U.S.? Yes, by number. But when you go down into the comparisons as to what particular type of ships that they have in their capability, they haven't beat out the U.S. dealing with that. But personally, I think that we need to start focusing on what's important. Now, they've made the threat that they were going to go into Taiwan by 27,
Mm-hmm.
and they're definitely going to. We already know they're going to. So the key thing on our end would be to make sure that what they're going there to get, which they want those microchips, they want those factories. So once they figured that out, then back a while ago, they started building factories over here. They started sending those people over here to be able to start making those chips here in the U.S. But they also told China a while ago that if you come over here thinking that you're going to get these chips, we just going to blow the factories up. So that part has already been told to them. Now, is that going to stop them from trying to do it? No. But they only got two times that they can even go, 2 times during the year that they can even go over there. But they're going to try it. Absolutely. So, of course, you got to be ready for that. And you know that they're in cahoots with you trying to crash the dollar. You know that. So why would you play in their hands and extend yourself to the point that if something did happen, you so stretched that you can't do anything about it? I mean, why are we spending all this unnecessary money on bullshit instead of dealing with the stuff that we need to be dealing with? Strengthening the power grid, strengthening up the actual resources that we have here.
Real
That if
priorities.
anything happens, that you could be self-sustaining here, but we worried about everything else.
Yeah. You're very good point about especially our own infrastructure, our own grid, for instance. I mean, not all of it, but a lot of our grid is way outdated. I mean, we're talking shit from the 60s, 70s and stuff like that. I mean, it's crazy that we don't have the best of those kind of things before we focused on all this shit. I mean, we have hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars for all this other shit, but we can't get serious with a couple $1 billion on our grid. Or we can't get, you know what I mean? Shit that's actually important for Americans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because we're too busy worried about everything else. You know what I mean? And that's always been our biggest problem. We never focused on home. We focused everywhere else. Everybody else got a piece of
It's
something.
a damn shame.
You know what I mean? But then it's like when push comes to shove at the end, the same ones that you've been supplying all these years, it's the same ones that turn their back on you right now. Like they forgot that you've been greasing their pockets for the past 20, 30, 40 years. They forgot. You know what I mean? And then we forgot to stop playing fucking police of the damn world and deal with our own shit in our own country.
I agree.
What was you gonna say, Aaron?
Well, I wanted to mention one other thing. Let's say that if war does break out and it's just two fronts, say Russia versus Europe, China versus the South China Sea, which would be America, Japan, Australia, the Philippines going against China. If a two-front war breaks out, we will have to invoke the draft. NATO would have to draft, we would have to invoke the draft, and anyone that's between 18 and 26 years old would get called up at that point. And I don't mean to sound negative, but I don't think the young people coming up now is as hard a guys as we were when we were young. They're kind of soft to me and very emotional. And now that the military can draft women, I don't think the forces that would be called up to be trained would be the quality of what we're used to getting.
Wait, women can be drafted now?
Oh, in
No
the United
way.
States. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
They can be
That-
drafted now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
Under Biden, I believe it was.
That happened a while ago.
Nah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh wow. No way.
Actually, it happened before then.
Okay. Because I was going to say right now, they don't play basketball or football out in the street. They're playing it on video games. I mean, they're kind of soft. I worry about the quality that would get called up and how they would perform when faced with real combat. I just don't think they're war material myself, but
Hold on. There's a correction.
okay.
No women in the United States cannot currently be drafted into military service. Here's how it works. Selective service system right now is still for men ages 18 to 25 are legally required to register with the selective service system. Women are not required to register and therefore are not eligible to be drafted under current U.S. law.
I heard something different, but
Yeah, I've never heard that.
I don't want women to have to go to war, period. To me, going to war and killing people and seeing people's bodies blown apart and flesh thrown everywhere, that's the worst of what it means to be a man. And to be able to maintain your sanity, seeing all that, and then come back to this world and have to go back to civilian life, that's hard enough. That's the worst of what it is to be a man. I do not want to see that put on American women.
The hell, half these women
Yeah,
talk to some of
should-
these men.
should-
and say,
Yeah, that
Same.
is true. That is true. You are right.
Same.
I don't disagree with you, AB. That's 100% facts. Oh shit.
I mean, I'm just calling
It
it what it
is
is.
what it is.
I mean,
Yeah.
These women are the new dudes. I mean, for real. I mean, because there's some soft batch dudes out here, man. I ain't even gonna lie to you. It's some,
Oh,
super sensitive, soft batch ass dudes. You know what I mean?
that is funny.
They ain't Aaron is right about that. The overall mentality on a lot of these kids these days are far sensitive. For a number of reasons. You remember us growing up, you know, I think the Gen X kind of got that was like the last of the hardcore men. Because during that time that's like the last breed of them that still got ass whoopings. You know what I mean? Before you touch somebody and they call child services. I mean, like you actually got your ass towed up. That your mother, your father, your grandma, your grandpa, your uncles, all of them tore your ass up if you was wrong. Back then, there was actual patriotism that was actually taught in schools.
Yep.
You actually did the Pledge of Allegiance in school every day, and you knew what it meant. You When I was going through school, it was like you either went to college or you went in the military. And during that time, the military was like, it wasn't a bad thing to go to. You know what I mean? Because it was like you wanted to go. You know what I mean? It wasn't nothing that they made you do. You wanted
Yeah,
to
there
go.
was a lot of like, I want to do this for my country kind of feel.
Well, you had that, but then you also had you just wanted to see if you could do it. You know what I'm saying?
True. Yeah.
Like I know me here. I want to see if I could do that. You know what I mean? And it made you want to do it. Now, just think about the military right now. They got sensitivity training. They got the little cards that, if you hollering at him too much and he getting his feelings, he pulled a little card and say, "Hey,
Yeah.
I pulled a card," and then you got to stop what you doing and be nice to this fucker. You know what I mean? You can't. The military that I grew up in, you got people from all walks of life, and you broke them, and you brought them all up as one band, one sound. I mean, didn't matter how you grew up, no matter where you grew up, didn't matter. And for the ones who paid attention, followed orders, whatever, you were fine. The fuck ups paid the price. You know what I mean? And then once they didn't learn, the ones who didn't learn, and then once they made you pay the price because of them not learning, then eventually you made sure that they learned. Whether that was a talking to or 3 o'clock in the morning, we strap you to the bed and beat you with a fucking lock. But you learn. Nowadays, they don't do that. Nowadays, people are sensitive, more aware.
We pamper
Everybody
these motherfuckers.
Everybody in their feeling. And you can't talk mean to me.
Emotional, damn it.
Right. They fucked up. That's what it is. They fucked up.
Yes. There's no room for that type of talk in the military. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Especially when you have countries like China that train kids for the military when they're kids, when they're
For their
babies.
entire lives. They're indoctrinated to the military there, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you far up under the line when it comes to, the actual people that you bring it through. And then they put in so many guidelines to it to where, like they have I forget the actual name of it, but there's a program now that that they use for people that's coming into the military. Now, let's say, for instance, if you was in elementary and the school decided that you needed Ritalin, right? Your parents gave you Ritalin. You went to the doctor and the parents gave you Ritalin. That goes onto your chart. But there's a program that they do now when you enlist that pulls up every single thing that you went to the doctor for from the time you were born.
Oh, I believe that.
And if they
especially with AI now, especially.
And if they see certain things on there, let's say that little Timmy was on Ritalin when he was in the 4th, 5th, or 6th grade, then you can't go in the military because
now
you
you're
may or
disqualified.
may not have a mental problem.
Right.
You
Now you're disqualified.
Exactly.
Wow. Yep.
So you're not getting everybody. You know what I mean? You getting what's left.
That,
you know what
yeah,
I mean?
and that's actually scary.
Right.
Because everyone has been prescribed some sort of shit that's going to disqualify you in that case. You know what I mean? There was a point in my life that I was prescribed Xanax for a short period of my life. So now what? Now I'm disqualified because now I may have a mental issue? That's crazy.
They use it. Like I said, or for instance, let's say that you went through it and you passed. You made it through that. And let's say you went to the hospital during the time, in between the time you did that, and the time you went to boot camp, and they gave you something. And when you go to boot camp, they run this scan again. And if they find something in between the time you took the first scan and the second one, you out. They do that too. So
Man,
it's
scary times.
There's a lot of
Especially with AI, though. I mean, we've been talking about that. I mean, this is nothing new in our conversations, right, gentlemen? You know what I mean? Like, we've been talking about these things for well over a year, and we're just kind of just watching everything that we talked about a year ago kind of happen. Not to
right.
this extent with Venezuela and all that stuff, but you know what I mean in general.
I mean, even if they did do a draft, you have to raise that age limit. You have to raise that age limit to at least 40. Because if not, you're gonna
40.
get about 10,000 bitches. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Oh man, come on! Oh shit! Why you gotta do us like that?
That's fact.
Hey,
That's
come
fact.
on! Don't be like that.
Trust me, that's fact. A lot of the
Heard
ones
that.
actually, to tell you the truth, to be 100% honest with you, I think personally that they should make a law that all men, once they turn 18, should do at least 2 years in the military. At least 2.
Like they have to, like kind of like
Have
what Israel does.
Yeah, like you have to go at least 2 years.
Well, we would be way more patriotic if we did that. Like we would really be down for the cause if everyone had to deal with that. A lot of people like to talk on the military that never served. So, and I never served. You know what I mean? So I have no room to really speak here, but I am at least calling out the contradictions.
I mean, and the only reason why I'm saying that is because a lot of kids these days like one thing: discipline.
Yes, correct. And framework, which is
doing
discipline.
that will actually get you discipline, mindset, morals, everything that you should have already gathered as you
and
grew.
respecting the hierarchies. You know what I mean? Like all sorts of really good things that actually are good for men. You know what I mean? For sure.
Everything that you should have got growing up.
Yep.
That you
From your father and
learn in these 2 years. Now, after them 2 years, if you want to stay, you can stay. If you want to go to college, whatever, you can go.
Right.
You can switch over and go into the reserve or whatever, go to college, do whatever. But you need to do at least 2 years. That way, if you ever had to reenact the draft or and bring that back up, at least you know that the people that you getting has some form of training. You know the mindset of these people because you've had to mold these young men.
It's militant mindset, man. You're very
Exactly.
right.
Exactly. But you can't bring somebody in there who done just sat in here and play video games all the time and say, okay, I'm gonna give you a real gun. Right.
That's
I'm gonna give you a real gun. I'm gonna give you a 60-pound pack and I'm gonna tell you to go over here and I want you to flank on this end and we're gonna do this. They're gonna be dead.
Yeah, see, that would be I would not be that guy. I couldn't do that. They're recruiting guys off of Call of Duty for flying drones and shit in the military, you know what I mean? And we've talked about that before.
Right.
But yeah.
But when they flying the drones, where they at though? The drones is over in Saudi Arabia and everywhere. Where they sitting at? Over here. They sitting over here on a remote control.
Yes.
I mean, that's one thing.
They're doing it off of PlayStation controllers, dude.
Right.
They connect their PlayStation controller and run them.
When you out here boots on the damn ground, I don't give a fuck how good you are at Call of Duty.
Right.
When you out here got to do it for real, then you going to see
I agree.
what real men are.
I 1000% agree. I mean, I did like SWAT training of being able to clear rooms and all of this stuff. Like growing up, I was really fascinated by doing competitions and stuff like that. And I can guarantee you there isn't a lot of people that can do both of those things. Like if they're video game nerds, a lot of these guys haven't even shot a gun. You know what I mean? So
other than
it's like, wow.
Other than on a video game. That's what I'm saying.
That's absolutely 100%. Facts.
I mean, so it's a whole lot to this, man. Like I said,
there is.
You know what I mean? Like you would think long term, if you were a president, you would think about that long term because these kids eventually will end up not all of them, but some of them will end up in your military. You know what I mean? And so education is key growing up, you know, and then once they get over here, then they can, because this is like a whole new ball game, you know. Now, like if you're in the Air Force, something like that, yeah, they like brainiacs in the Air Force. They like brainiacs in the Navy. But if you in the Army or the Marine Corps, you know what I mean, they need you to be a certain way. You know what I mean? They don't call them devil dogs for nothing. You know what I mean? There's reasons for that. There's mind frames to that. You know what I mean? You can't just pull the ordinary kid off the couch that sit here and play video games every single day and you're gonna make him a warrior. That's not how it happens.
You're right.
Only thing you gonna
It's
only
sad
thing
though.
you gonna, only thing you're gonna make him is a photograph on a mama's shirt when they put him in the ground.
Yep.
That's
Another
fact.
face on a shirt. Yep.
That's fact.
100%. That is facts.
So we're at 115. So we're gonna drop it down for the evening. Like I said, I thank everybody for coming out once again. Like, follow, share, subscribe. Hit the like button on your way out on both. Come on, Mike's, come on mine. Do the same thing. That way, let's get this story out on the right algorithm so people can be able to watch it. Those of you that's not on the Dominant Effect on Facebook, go on there. We put a lot of stuff on there every single day. A lot of stuff that we pick up throughout the week. You find post on, it's usually on there. So it'll give you kind of a bird's eye view as to what we're looking at throughout the week, what we're picking up throughout the week. Also, hit the little QR code there to go to the Dominant Effect store. Got a lot of stuff on there. You have the memberships on there. You also have different promo codes you can put on to save 10, 15% on different stuff. So go on and check that out too. We just got to remember, everybody, that, you know, don't just believe everything that somebody tell you. Do your actual research on it.
Mm-hmm.
Look it up for yourself. You know what I mean? And I always grew up that when something seemed too good to be true, it usually wasn't. So do your research. Look beyond the bullshit and see for yourself what's really going on here. And then take that knowledge and use it to protect you and your family. I see you all in 7 days. Go ahead, Aaron, check it out.
Okay. As I said, their goal is going to be to use EMP attacks to cripple our power grid. They cripple our power grid. Do you have alternative forms of power that can be employed? Solar, wind, turbines. How about some sort of generator system so that you won't have to do it out? They're going to cause communication blackouts. All right. Do you have ham radios, CB, GMRS radios for just in case? They claim they're going to cause an economic crash. All right. If they do that, do you have alternative forms of currency? Do you have gold, silver, platinum? Do you have gold backs in place? And when they talk about civil chaos, I'm going to tell you this, the only people that's going to be panicking are the ones that get blindsided. Because if you were prepping and you were ready for this, you're going to be calm, cool, and collect. You got nothing to worry about because you're prepared. You know what to do. But those that get blindsided, that's going to be the civil chaos. Avoid those people at all costs. Stay away from them. Out of sight, out of mind. And I'll end there.
With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I can't thank each and every single one of you guys enough for coming out and hitting the like button, by the way. That definitely helps on both sides of the equation here. And I think this is a great topic. Most of the mainstream media is unwilling, obviously, to speak on this topic. So I'm glad that you guys wanted to speak on this because I think it is important. It's something that's definitely being there's not enough transparency, right? And one thing that I commented in the comment section earlier on the live stream here is I was like, this is not to fearmonger, right? This is not fear-mongering. This is just facts of what's happening. So I really appreciate you guys being able to listen to this. And like everyone said here on this panel, be willing to do your own research. Never take my word. AB's word or Aaron's word. Take our word in consideration, of course, and then look into that and actually look into that for real. Like, we're not just saying that to say it. I think that this is totally, at this point, information warfare, right? We have seen this nonstop. So, but with that being said, I can't thank you guys enough for coming out. Make sure you guys stick around for the raid. We're going to be sending you guys off to our buddy Grid One Motorsports on my side. Again, I dropped the link for the Diamond Effect over there. Make sure you guys hit that, go subscribe over there as well. And thank you guys for bringing this topic to the forefront here, because I think it's very important that we talk about it. So anyways, with that being said, we'll see you guys here in 7 days. Much love.